last week that Cyberpunk 2077 update got delayed. Patch 2.3 would have dropped on Thursday as a surprise update, but needed some more time in the oven. Thankfully, CDPR has confirmed that the wait won't be very long. I'd expect further news relatively soon, so get subscribed for that. And I think what a lot of people are missing is the good news that came from all of this. I mean, firstly, CDPR isn't using this yellow delay image anymore. We could finally move on, and even just them delaying this update in general feels like evidence that they've definitely learned from past mistakes and evolved. But in the update announcement itself, CDPR also says we're aiming for a scope similar to Update 2.2. This not only gives us a pretty good idea as to what we could expect from Patch 2.3 size-wise, let's not get crazy with expectations for Patch 2.3 here, but then let's immediately get crazy with expectations for Cyberpunk 2077's future, because I think this little comment does sort of confirm that we are getting more Cyberpunk 2077 content even beyond this singular update. But first, what are we getting with Patch 2.3? We know it's similar in scope to Patch 2.2, which included 3 larger new features and 1 relatively minor one, with Patch 2.2 overall having a focus on personalization and expressing yourself in Night City. I wouldn't be shocked if they try and do a similar overarching theme for Patch 2.3. Right after we got 2.2, Paul Sasko asked what further customization options fans wanted, mentioning things like new arm and leg options as well as hairstyles. And yeah, I think that's a shoo-in. Additional customization options either during character creation or even at Ripperdocs feels very likely for Patch 2.3. One of Cyberpunk 2077's most popular mods ever is Arasaka Cyber Arms, giving you the option to get full cybernetic arms for your own character, just like many other characters in Night City can do. But this isn't implemented super nicely. All of these are replacers, so you have to pick which arms you want ahead of time, and you can't just dynamically switch them in-game. A proper CDPR implementation would be way better here, and we've already seen them implement popular mods into Cyberpunk 2077 with past updates. And if they did want to extend that theme, new pieces of cyberware also feel very possible. Mods like Black Chrome are basically just a pack of a bunch of new cyberware added in Night City. So you can unlock things like the auxiliary deck, giving you basic quick hacks to disable electronics or ping enemies, but not occupying an operating system slot. So you could use some of these basic quick hacks, mostly around stealth, while also using something like Berserk or Sandevistan. I feel like something akin to this, which enables more use of Berserk and Sandy, would be a really nice addition to the game and feels very possible from an update, or even just more playstyle dependent cyberware like Skunk, which sometimes produces a cloud of toxic gas that inhibits enemy melee attacks while also damaging enemies around you. New cyberware has long been requested by fans of this game, and after the 2.0 overhaul that kind of reworked this entire system, I just have suspected they'll add more here with some of these ongoing updates. And just when looking at content overall, cyberware, cars, and even new weapons are more likely to get added with updates like this because it doesn't require a bunch of new voice work that needs to be translated to a bunch of different languages. But I would only expect a couple of new things here. 1 or 2 new pieces of content, not 10 to 20. And it'll likely be tied to a new gig. In the past, when adding in new weapons, CDPR would add them as a gig-specific reward to just make it feel a bit more special. And even this gig, Concrete Cage Trap, was in the file since release. A lot of people viewed it as cut content, but only got properly implemented with patch 1.6. Right now, Cyberpunk 2077 has 2 cut gigs, including Hothead, and this too could get fully implemented here. Hothead had a major car chase section, which simply didn't work super well before the patch 2.0 driving AI overhaul. So imagine a situation where you're doing the Hothead gig, but then at the end, maybe you get a really cool new piece of cyberware as a reward for your character, which opens up some interesting new gameplay possibilities. And then something like Sit Anywhere as the 3rd major feature feels pretty probable. There are a couple of mods that do something like this that basically just allow you to sit at the various points in Night City to take in the environments around you. CDPR has added this in a few specific spots with past updates, but a broader application definitely feels possible. They've been trending towards more immersion in Night City with some of their more recent updates, and having something like Sit Anywhere implemented properly would really up the immersion of Night City. So when it comes to your expectations for patch 2.3, while the specific features I'm calling out here might not literally be added to the game, I think what I talked about here should give you a good idea of the general update size. You could expect some cool new things to do in Night City. A new feature or 2 is likely. I think we will see a new weapon, cyberware, or car, but likely just 1 or 2 of one of those examples. This is likely not a DLC-sized experience, and I wouldn't expect dozens of hours of new gameplay. And even when it comes to highly requested features like New Game Plus or the third-person perspective, those are almost certainly not included with this update just due to how large scale of a feature they are. Unless we get mod support. CDPR has been expanding their mod plans. They hired community modders to make the official tools for The Witcher 3 and are even bringing those mods to consoles later this year. In the past, the CEOs have spoken about seeing mods as a value add for their games, including Cyberpunk 2077. So as a result of all of that, it just kind of feels like mods are coming at some point. But are they coming with patch 2.3? We know a team of about 10 to 20 people worked on the Witcher 3 mod tools, including over 10 months of engine work just to make sure the tools would work with the engine. And those tools dropped for the Witcher 3 in May of 2024, just a bit over a year ago now. So yeah, they could be coming to Cyberpunk 2077 on PC. They might have been working on these tools for Cyberpunk for the past year, and it could be coming out with patch 2.3, but we just don't know. That is to say that, yeah, it's definitely possible we get new mod tools for Cyberpunk in just a couple of weeks, but it's also far from guaranteed. But whenever these tools drop, it'll be a big deal. It opens up possibilities for new quests, new world spaces, and even new mechanics in-game. On the Witcher 3 side, there's even a project known as The Last Witch, which right now is recreating the first Witcher book in The Witcher 3. So if we do get these tools for Cyberpunk, a ton more content is possible all of a sudden. But really, I think the confirmation that patch 2.3 will be a similar scope to patch 2.2 is actually a pretty giant indication for Cyberpunk 2077's future. Patch 2.2 wasn't giant. It's a nice sized update. It'll give you hours of new things to do, but that's about it. So with this next update being something similar, and then turning back the clock a couple of weeks when we had the senior writer at Virtuous Games update his LinkedIn to say he was working on a Cyberpunk 2077 DLC in April does make you wonder, how's that going to fit in? This LinkedIn entry explicitly mentions analyzing existing Cyberpunk 2077 character voices to inform writing their dialogue in multiple new side quests. And even on his website, he had a writing sample for a Judy Alvarez quest, and the Polish Judy voice actor recently teased working on something. I don't think any of this new voice stuff that we see mentioned here will be included with patch 2.3. But assuming this LinkedIn isn't an elaborate hoax, all of this information has been removed, but the LinkedIn entry itself is still live. To me, it sounds like new side quests involving existing characters from the game are coming to Cyberpunk 2077 at some point. We also got this birthday calendar with 6 encrypted entries. A lot of people think this is suggesting some new characters for the game, or potentially even in a new anime, which also is way beyond the scope of patch 2.2 or 2.3. So I think what's going on here is Cyberpunk 2077 is getting more than just the surprise patch 2.3. There are almost certainly more updates or potentially even something larger coming down the line. And what makes this all even more interesting is the recent leak from Rock and Boris. These are two very popular Polish podcasters that have shown connections to CDPR in the past, and they recently leaked that this unannounced Fool's Theory project that CDPR themselves confirmed during a recent earnings call is actually a new Witcher 3 DLC or expansion, likely coming next year. CDPR uses DLC to describe smaller free content, while expansions are larger paid content. So when you consider that they're doing all of this support for The Witcher 3, while Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely the more popular game, at least right now, based off player counts, it just really makes you wonder, is all of that stuff that they're doing for The Witcher 3 also coming to Cyberpunk 2077? I think there's a pretty good chance that a lot of that same strategy will be applied to this game. Cyberpunk 2077 getting another paid expansion feels improbable. It feels like that is definitely out there, but the future of Cyberpunk 2077 feels brighter than ever. I feel more excited now than I have in years. We're getting at least one new update, and we'll likely learn more within the next month. But also things like mod support and potentially even a new DLC featuring existing characters feel possible. There are at least pieces of evidence or something pointing towards more coming, even just beyond this singular update. You have to imagine CDPR is saving something for the 5-year anniversary on December 10th, but otherwise we might see a very active year for Cyberpunk 2077, and I haven't even mentioned that a new anime is also in the works.